All right, and welcome back. This is the Symbols of Peace podcast from UA, and we are covering the good symbol this week. We already talked about the characters, so now we're going to jump into the attacks. First thing you're going to notice when you are looking at all the good attacks in this set is that there's kind of two overarching themes, or in particular keywords that appear on all these attacks, which is either punch or weapon. There's some exceptions to that, and we'll talk about some of those cards as well. But in general, those are your two options. So what we're going to do is we've both selected our top two punches and our top two weapons to kind of cover and talk about. Ryan, what are your favorite two punches?
My favorite two punches. So if I had to pick two punches and say these are like my stone cold favorite ones, there's a lot of good ones to choose from the symbol.
Yeah, no shortage of them.
But I mean, Hard and Chop has got to be up there, right?
It's very good.
Yeah, it lets you destroy something to build something face down from the top of your deck. And if your attack is blocked, your opponent discards a card. It's a 4-low for 5. It has a good block on it. And it has break for 1. So, I mean, there's nothing bad about this card. This card is awesome. It punishes your opponent for blocking, which is everything you want to do when you attack someone. And
this card's a great card to open your turn with. Like, that's the thing that people need to understand. Like, you just throw this out there and you're like, hey, what do you want to do? Make them make a tough decision.
Yeah.
Do you want to take some free damage and I might just be poking and I get some free momentum? Or do you want to block this and maybe I wasn't bluffing? Maybe I have a grip full of more attacks and you just pitch 2 to not take 5. Now you're going to take a lot more damage. So
right,
100%. This card's nuts.
Yeah. What's your number one? We'll bounce back and forth here.
Ooh, my number one?
Or one of your two. Like, what's your first of your two?
Yeah. So we talked about the All Might punch deck that I run off of good. And I'd say the card that I like a lot, there's a couple of them, but Hard and Chop is very good. It's in that deck. But Texas Smash, man, like I like this card a lot. Like, and what's crazy is, again, when they previewed it, I was like, I don't know. Like the art's cool, but like, I don't know. And then I got to play it and I was like, oh, this card's nuts. Like it's a 4 diff, 4 high for 7. Like I'm always going to combo this. And then on top of that, I can pitch a card, which we talked about how I draw a bajillion cards. That's not a real cost. I'm just going to discard this foundation or whatever that I didn't plan on using this turn. And we'll give my next attack +4 also. Like it just opens up so many options because 4 damage effectively doubles most attacks damage. You know, like it's 4 to 5 damage range is where you're doubling an attack. So it's nuts. I like this card a lot. Never sad to see him. Kind of sad if you see 3 of them in a hand and you don't have like a different attack to lead with. But if you Texas Smash into Texas Smash, you're like, oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see any punch deck ever just not running auto including Texas Smash.
Yeah, you gotta convince me. Like the quality of the average punch would have to go up so much.
Yeah, they would all have to be
not run this card.
Yeah, they would have to all be 3 difficulty, 6 damage attacks. We not run this.
I don't know. It's only 6 damage. This bitch does 7.
4 difficulty. It's too much. It's too much difficulty.
Too great. Too difficult. All right. So what's your second one?
So my second punch, man. There's so many good options. Like, so I've never been a big believer of Detroit Smash, but the more I've played it, I've had fun with it. But it's not going to be in my top 2. I just wanted to say,
Smash.
Yeah, it's smashy smashes a little bit. But I guess probably Setup Strike. If it like Texas Smash probably would be my actual number 2, but you already talked about it, so we'll go down to my number 3 and Setup Strike. And this is basically Texas Smash, but the speed version. It does the same thing, except you don't have to combo, and it's bumping your things up, man. This into Texas Smash is a fucking combo.
It is. Or Texas Smash into this sometimes. You know, whatever. Yeah. Like
whichever way you want to do it, whichever way you got to do it. And as we know, speed is more important than damage a lot of the time. So this is the actual ultimate setup into a combo card.
Yeah. No, and so Setup Strike is incredible. Like we were kind of talking about punches that are kind of like a snap include in most lineups, and Setup Strike is immediately on that list too. Like I think the only time you don't run it is if you're just running like 5 hand size All Might, like where you just want to add a ton of damage to stuff and you're just kind of win based off of the number of attacks as opposed to the quality of each attack, if that makes sense. Like making sure that, I'm putting each card's going to be really difficult for them to deal with, as opposed to just the number of cards I'm going to play is difficult for them to deal with, I'm not saying you can't run it in him by any means. I'm just saying, like, that's the only argument I can see where you don't auto include it. You can maybe auto include something else over it. Yeah, if I were going to pick a second favorite punch to play, I'm right there with you, man. Like, I was not a Detroit Smash believer in that way. I'm very two-check adverse just as a player. I don't enjoy the variance in my deck. I like the 3s and 5s. I've got some bad history with 2s and 4s and 1s. So that being said, man, this card is awesome.
It's so fun to play, isn't it?
It's just awesome. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I 1x this now on my list just because I love the feel of this card. Like, you play this and you just, you're about to knock the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Like, and if it doesn't, they're gonna spend a lot of resources trying to not get destroyed. And what's really cool, so I was saying, like, I have the Gen Con, or the Plus Ultra All Might built, and he still benefits from this other All Might enhance only, like to reduce his hand size. So, like, I'll just do that. I'll reduce it down to a 5 because the turn that I'm playing Detroit Smash is the turn I plan on winning the game normally. Like, I don't poke with a Detroit Smash. Like,
yeah.
So in that situation, I'm just gonna burn it all, and that feels really good too. That's thematically appropriate, like, because when he's fighting that Nomu, man, like, he's just like, all right, it took, back in my heyday, you would have taken 5 blows to knock this guy out or whatever, and he's like, it took me over 150 at over 100%. Like, that's what this card feels like, and I love it. So that's probably my second favorite card.
Okay.
It is not by any means a card I snap include in decks. Like this is only gonna play this in All Might for me kind of thing. I know the Midoriya list at the Omaha Smash was running it too, I think, just because it does crazy numbers. But that's the thing. Like, punch decks can do nuts numbers.
I think the enhanced to, like, turn 1 momentum into 3 could be, like, irrelevant at some point. I don't think it, like, breaks this attack or anything, even though it's really good. And you can, in 5-hander All Might, you can do, like, powerful 10, 30 damage off of it or whatever. But I like that first enhance. I think that does give it some playability and things outside of All Might, even though it is clearly the best in All Might, because you can just draw 3 cards to fuel that.
Right. He shows them how to go Plus Ultra, man. That's how he does it.
Indeed.
So we want to talk about some honorable mentions. So, like, some punch attacks that are right there on the cusp, like things that are kind of cool, or attacks that are kind of like just fun, but aren't like your favorites. They're not snap includes, right? Or things that just get you excited. So what would be an honorable mention punch for you?
So I think like, I love reverse throw, and it would probably end up being closer to my top of my punch list than in the not quite there list, which is, I guess, is what we're doing. So I guess we'll which is the one that puts stuff in your momentum? What's that one called?
Velocity punch.
Velocity punch. Yeah.
Add one foundation for your station momentum.
Yeah. So low attack, 4/4/4, 3 low block, and you get some snap momentum. I'm all about snap momentum, but this also doesn't have a place in every deck. So this is it can't always just go into your deck and be awesome, and those decks where you need to just get a momentum to get into some shenanigans against your opponent, this is your guy right here.
Oh yeah. So I think Velocity Punch is also on the below the radar kind of quality good, because a lot of the punch stuff does want like one momentum to kind of just do stuff. Think about this in the new DLC All Might. You just play a Velocity Punch, snap build that foundation you just tapped or flipped into your momentum, and then pitch it to draw a card. And if they don't block this low attack, you draw another card. That's a great poke. And what's important about Velocity Punch is it's a low attack. Hard and Chop is as well, but most of the punches are highs. So having that zone mix up goes a long way. So I'm right there with you. I love Velocity Punch, like throwing it in, kind of like mixing things up if your deck can fully utilize it, which is, I think, kind of what you're getting at, right? Like, it has to be super good. So I'm going to say Future Charge is probably it for me. Like, Future Charge, you read it, you're like, this card is awesome. It's going to draw so many cards. And it just doesn't. Like, it's so blockable. Like, this card should have been a 4/4. I don't know why it's not a 4/4. And then, because you look at all the other punches that are 4 discs, they're all 4/4s. But for some reason, Future Charge is a 3/4, and it's a mid. So it's the most blockable zone. and it's slow, and all it does is it replaces itself. Like, I get drawing cards is good, but I mean, like, yeah, if you see 2 in a turn, you drew 3 cards. That's really awesome. But you also just had 2 checks and two blocked attacks that did nothing, like,
Mm-hmm.
and they're clogging up your card pool, adding 2 difficulty from then on. Like, I just I don't think this card is nearly good enough. I'd be amazed to see it make the cut in a lot of lists. Like, because you can't run just 1 or 2 of it either. Like, and then like Velocity Punch, we were talking about, like you could run like a 1 or 2 just to get some momentum. You have to run a set of these.
Yeah.
So
And I guess
I
the
just don't.
argument for this card is that there's not a lot of card draw in some of these symbols.
Sure.
Like especially if you're not playing All Might and Good, there's not a lot of card draw. Like you can play Destined for Mainstream Success with Celebrity
Yeah.
Status, like pull stuff back. But this gives you like just random card draw, which it's good enough sometimes. It just depends.
Yeah, and I know there were some lists that were running this, like some of those Kirishima lists and stuff, because he's a
Hmm.
five-hander. But yeah, like I said, I just think that it is not as good as I want it to be, and not as good as I initially thought it would be. Like I thought, oh man, that's going to be one that you're going to probably see in a lot of lists, and you just don't,
Yeah,
because
I think
it just the rest of the attacks are just better.
yeah, I think this card does shine in Good Kirishima because if it ever does connect and you're able to like pull it down as a face down, then you can always like the next time you draw one, you pull it up and play it and draw the extra
Are
cards off of it.
you mean if they block it and you then coordinated effort it
Yeah,
to
yeah,
pull
yeah,
it down? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
Sure. That's useful because then you can have one on command, so you can kind of
Yeah,
fix the whole guaranteed draw 3. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, but that's one deck that could get
yeah,
by running 4 of it. It doesn't
absolutely.
care if it gets blocked because we're banking on it getting blocked at that point, like,
Yeah.
um, so yeah.
All right.
Um,
Well, moving on to weapons.
yeah. So the other pack is, or lineup really is the good weapons. So, I guess I'll kick this one off with my top 2 favorite weapons. It's a much smaller list because it's just Momo and Jiro. Um, so we may have some overlap here. I I really like Unwavering Slash a lot. Like, it's the problem with this card is that it's a 4/4 and it's a 5 diff.
Mm-hmm.
But man, this card does so much because it builds you an asset, it raises a card, it draws a card. Like, it just kind of does it all. It also has powerful on it. Um, so I really like it. If you're Jiro, it triggers both of your abilities, so it becomes a 5/5 immediately. If you're Momo, you can just pump 2 speed on it, and then it also has powerful, so it can do a lot of stuff there. Um, and yeah, I like this card a lot. Um, but it's kind of like a 5 diff poke in some situations, unless you have a lot of momentum, and then it's like a 5 diff, maybe kill them.
Yeah.
Um, what would be your first pick?
I'm right here with you, dude. Like Unwavering Slash is probably my favorite of the weapons. Because something you didn't mention is that like forward thinking, the more assets that get printed, this thing just tutors up any asset from your discard pile.
True.
Any asset in air, all are good. If it's got anything crazy going on and you're able to just pull it back, this is going to be a great attack for that. And I mean, you said it's a 5 difficulty poke, but if you have an asset in play, um, it kind of lets you get in with a little less risk because you can just ready something if you do check poorly.
Right.
So I like it as a poke because it replaces itself and you don't really have to commit a ton to it.
Yeah.
And it has
Um,
powerful too randomly. You might just like blow
right.
somebody up
Like I
with
said,
it.
yeah, like in that Momo deck I have, I run it obviously because you want quick creations, and it's sometimes my kill condition. Like,
Hmm.
I'll just be like, hey, I got 3 momentum. This thing's gonna come across for about 10. You cool with
Yeah.
that? Like, um, so if I had to pick a second weapon, um, it's hard because basically all the weapons are designed really specifically for the character. Like, Unwavering Slash is designed for both characters. I
Hmm.
feel like, whereas the others are pretty specific. Um, like Create Capture Net is a really good card. Like, it gets stunned too. It's off zone. It's super slow though, and that's because they plan on, again, Momo and Jiro both pumping up the speed on it, so it doesn't get unruly. Um, but it also lets you snap build a foundation from your card pool face up, which is really cool. So like, it combos off foundation. So you're like, build a foundation that I want to play a capture net on a 5, give it stun 2, then I'll build that foundation down. Awesome, cleared my card pool. I got a 2 low for 4 that's got stun 2 on it. Like, this card's really good.
Yeah.
And it works in both characters as well. Also has charge weapon for Jiro, so it can trigger both her abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably my number 2.
Yeah, I like that one a lot too. I like the combat tricks that you can do, or I guess I say combat tricks, but those shenanigans you can do by pulling a foundation down your opponent didn't expect. It's
Right?
fun. But I guess for the sake of diversity, I'll say I also really like oh no, this isn't actually a weapon. Amplified Sound Blast is not a weapon. Never mind.
That's yeah, that's the other one I want to talk about. That's kind of my honorable mention, right? Because it's not a
So
weapon.
yeah, I guess yeah, my second one will also be Create Capture That. So
Yeah.
no
Well,
love
let's
for
just talk
Staff
about
Strike on this podcast. No
yeah,
love for Staff Strike. It's too
yeah.
slow.
Well, right. Let's talk about that for a second because people are going to definitely ask that. Like, why did we not select Staff Strike? This card's insane, right? It's not. Um, so it's a 4 mid for 6. So again, super blockable. It's got weapon on it. All right, that's cool. But weapon foundation as a combo requirement means you're playing this on an 8.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then it just makes the next 2 weapon cards you play, or it says you try to play, which is also interesting because that means if you somehow fail them, I guess, then it I don't know, that's weird. Anyway, let's try and ignore progressive difficulty. That's awesome. Ignoring progressive is awesome. You just play them on printed difficulty, regardless how many cards are in your card pool. Let you do crazy things. Like ideally, you want to do some scenario where like the second card you play is another staff strike or something, but you can't keep comboing them because of that foundation requirement, you know?
Yeah, you got to have your assets in play to like pull stuff, right? To
Uh,
fulfill that.
yes. So like you'd have to use like quick creation to add that foundation or something.
Yeah,
And then
and then play an
so you didn't
attack.
technically play it and then you get to play this next staff strike on it.
Yeah,
Like, and again, we're working really hard to get 6 damage. Now, it draws a ton of cards in that situation also. And card draw is very good. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I think the only way this becomes worth it actually is the card that we were just about to talk about, which is Amplified Sound Blast. Because Amplified Sound Blast, while it's in your momentum, can give your next one -2. The card's also flash, and it's also low. So this card's just kind of good. You know, like
mm-hmm.
if you're running the weapon or the charge lineup, you can just throw this in the deck. Like you're gonna get value out of it.
Yeah. I
The worst
mean,
thing about it is its block.
yeah, and it has a meaningful deadlock response. It's not one that's going to win you the game, but I mean, it's 4 difficulty attack, and it would draw you 2 cards on flash if you get into deadlock. So
Yeah,
why not?
right. It's just cool. Um, we did not, and I forgot to include when we were talking about our punches earlier.
Yeah, I was
Uh,
surprised you didn't talk about Mighty Punch, man.
well, Mighty Punch or Full Cowling. I forgot
Yeah,
about both those cards, and I like both those cards a lot. So that's on
yeah.
me. Um, yeah, I think Full Cowling's awesome because it kind of like we're talking about with Hardened Chop makes a situation where they're going to want to block it because if you play this against a Kirishima, he's not going to block a lot of attacks. He's going to block this one because you tap him, you just leave it and you tap him. If he doesn't block, oh well, it looks like he ain't building or looping anything this turn.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think tapping someone's character is very detrimental. You're never going to get to tap Eraser probably, but whatever. You can still
Yeah,
threaten it. And sometimes you just play this when you're late in the turn when you're running out of cards. You're like, discard 1 card, draw 3. Why not? Let's go. And then to your point about Mighty Punch, I really want to test this card out. I haven't gotten to yet, but it seems really good.
yeah. It's another attack that's always going to get blocked by Eraser, but it is what it is.
Yeah, 100%.
This
So,
attack will never. This gets sideboarded out immediately against Eraser Head.
all right, just nope, no need for these. But yeah, so we got. You want to go ahead and jump into assets real quick? Like, are there?
Yeah, let's run through the assets and the actions, and we'll take a break and do the foundations last.
Okay, I don't know. Do we even have any actions that are good actions? Be
We're gonna
honest.
find
Oh
out.
yeah. Oh yeah, we do.
Capture evildoers, sir.
Yes, sir. We got the action. Um,
Mm-hmm. The
I'm
one and
about.
only.
I'm about to just talk about that. All right, because
Man, isn't this a great action to play in Mount Lady, actually? You just get it
yeah. Oh
online
yeah.
all the time. Just do whatever you want to do with it.
Then clear your card pool. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I like that.
Oh yeah. Capture evildoers is. You have to convince me to not play this card in most decks now that can run it. Like I ran into the problem that I had 6 of them, and I was like, I need more,
Yeah.
because every deck I was building, like in Momo, this is how I think you could, if you want to staff strike Momo, this is an option here. Like you do this, you kind of clear your card pool down. You set up the second Staff Strike combo by clearing your card pool, discard those other cards that would be in the way, and then you just leave those two to then play another Staff Strike on an 8 again,
Yeah.
Like that's an alternative if you don't have the other shenanigans we're talking about to just quick creation things in. But yeah, this card's awesome. +1 mid block with breaker 1. Yes. Momentum hate is super important right now. Decks that use momentum use it very well. So being able to steal one, mentioned Uraraka earlier, being able to targeted remove one of her momentums during her turn, like she pulls one down. If she doesn't pick it up immediately, you just nuke it and it's gone forever.
Or
And
if you
that can kill it
play,
all.
or you just play Ida and you're like, I don't care, I'm nuking it anyways.
That's right. Off of Fire Ida, you just go first. Yeah. And then the card pool clear is awesome. That's why I run this in my All Might deck. Like I'll get 3 attacks deep or whatever, still have like 8 cards in hand, and I'm like, you know what? We just played that Velocity Punch. We got that momentum. Let's play this Capsule Evildoers. Let's clear this card pool. Let's keep on trucking.
Yeah. I love
Yeah,
this card.
This card's awesome.
This card,
Um,
best foiling in the set to me. I love it.
yeah, it is a cool foil.
I wish you could see it on the screen. If you haven't seen it, it looks so good. But yeah,
Yeah.
man, this is the card. The first time, as soon as I saw this card, I needed it. I talked about it. I wanted it. And
We
then
both saw this card and freaked out.
I still haven't put it in a deck because I haven't played any of those symbols that really needed it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I just was like, Ryan, give me all your copies. You're never going to use these.
And I did not do that. But I'm an air stan, apparently. I only play air.
Yeah, he's stuck. Yeah,
Moving
the other
on.
two are Plus Ultra and Go Beyond. We talked about those ad nauseum, I'm sure, at this point.
Yeah,
And
we're not talking about those anymore.
yeah, they're good. Well, Plus Ultra's good. Go Beyond is normally underwhelming.
Situationally, maybe good.
Yeah. Assets, Earphone Jack and Quick Creation. I think Earphone Jack is the better one in general.
Yeah, it can go into more decks for sure.
Correct. It generically just kind of works on a lot of stuff. It has a weapon on it. It just gives some speed if it's charged, like it just does stuff. It readies things. +1 high block. It's good. Quick Creation is the best card in the Momo deck.
Mm-hmm.
It is insane. What's good about it is it's not unique. The more of these you get in, the harder you're going to win that game. So I think it's only good though in Momo right now. There could be characters that come out later that it's good in as well, but like only Momo's playing this card, which makes it just not as good as the Earphone Jack in general.
Quick Creation is it's actually unplayable in every character that's not Momo.
Yeah, I would tend to agree.
Unless there comes a time when you can force your opponent into deadlock by gifting them foundations.
Right? Yeah, no, its deadlock ability to just double your attack speed and damage is nuts. But
yeah,
I'm never going to do it. But it's just,
if
they ever do.
You're never doing that. And if you do it, you're only going to do it once. And damn, is it going to hurt?
Yeah, it's only going to hurt once, but damn, is it going to hurt? All right. So we want to take a break real quick and then jump into foundations?
Yeah, let's do it.